My name is Rory Houlihan. I ran for U.S. Senate last spring, 2016, to stop the ticking time bombs so I could put our economy on track for a bright new day instead of all things ending. Well, I lost the election, not running, but the ticking time bombs are still here, if not more so. Let me educate you on the ticking time bombs and give you the rest of the story. Part 1G. How did the terms conservative and liberal come about? Do you want to know the next great liberal after Jefferson? Ah, well, he was a frontiersman, a farmer, a warrior, and a general. With a force of a quarter the size, he kicked the best army the British had. He fought all his life to protect settlers in the Western Territories. How many of you have watched Godzilla movies? When Godzilla fights rough, who gets stepped on? The little folks of Japan, right? Now, do the Japanese stand by and just let this happen, or do they do something about it? Fight back. Well, our next great liberal took point, took on, and took out the Godzilla of his time, the Private Bank of Philadelphia. Let me tell you the rest of the story here. President Jackson stood for more than one issue. President Jackson was the first anti-statism proponent. Jackson, the state had to be temporarily strong in order that it might be permanently weak. Has this ever occurred to any of you that you need a strong government to control big business? You just might need a Godzilla to protect the little peoples from a Godzilla. Maybe the solution to big government is to keep businesses and banks from growing too big to fail. Wasn't that just what President Jackson did? Jackson's anti-statism had the effect of making the federal government more powerful than ever. But the Jeffersonian framework still existed. Without this ideological change, long-term change towards Jacksonian activist government was never set. The result was that the liberalism was in practice activist, but still committed to a negative or passive Jeffersonian government theory, which suited conservatives just fine at the time. Remember, conservatives' new goal to keep the federal government weak and to keep anyone from protecting we the people, but use the federal government as their personal piggy bank. Don't you think conservatives were saying overreaching activists, federal policies bad when Andrew Jackson was running our country? Jackson was an activist. Let's be honest. White settlers coming from Europe, he protected. So these new settlers would be safe and have Western opportunities. We are seen as a land of opportunity thanks to Jackson. Under Jackson, strong government could be an instrument of good for the common man. Unlike what Jefferson wrote, Jefferson assumed equals, no need for government amongst equals, and proposed a laissez-faire, weak government approach. So, strong federal government was a negative. Jackson faced unequals between the industrial East and the Western settlers, need for capital, and used strong government to level the field to create opportunity for all. So, under Jackson, strong federal government is a positive. Today we have Jefferson Jackson events all over our country. I, as a U.S. senatorial candidate, did attend them, though I was never asked to speak. We do not honor these men because they are both slave owners, but because they aspire to create the foundations of today's liberalism. As an economist, I know that industrialization requires a concentration of wealth for those businesses to have both working developmental capital and money to run. That is why states create corporations where investors can give outside money, capital, to those corporations. Capital in exchange for a share of ownership. Corporations are a very important tool for our business development. Limits liability, expands the way a company can grow, which helps growth of our economy. But corporations are just one business model tool in the U.S. business development toolbox. Most businesses start out small and are proprietorships, sole or common, like family-owned businesses and farms. Jackson saw both banking and Hamiltonian government policies going to corporations instead of those small proprietorships, and that was strangling Western expansion. Understand, as a liberal, we believe in the non-strict view of our Constitution, but instead we have a liberal view of our U.S. Constitution, which includes George Washington's preamble. Preamble point of law number 6 is to secure the blessings of liberty. A component of this is happiness. We liberals believe in happiness for all and not just for some. To accomplish this happiness for all goal, liberals believe that government needs to follow the business policy of opportunity for all, OFA, and not just for some, OFS. Both Jefferson and Jackson believed in this goal, but because of reality, Jackson chose the more appropriate means of government activism and anti-statism to stand up for the little settlers, putting their lives on the line in the Western territories. You have a good and blessed day. Bye.